Hello, welcome to this educational talk from the Orwell Society. Our subject is Newspeak, the language of Oceania in George Orwell's novel 1984. Our speaker is Brennan Conaway, a writer and artist who is currently teaching English at a Japanese university. He used the guidelines from Orwell's Principles of Newspeak to construct the Newspeak language, which he believed did not exist previously, and then used that constructed language to rewrite 1984 in his book, Year 84. You will find a short account of the book Year 84 on our website, orwellsociety.com. I will now pass you over to Brennan Conaway.
Thank you for that nice introduction. Let me share my screen and we'll begin. Here we are, Unlearn Old Speak, a short tutorial on rewriting with Newspeak. As Les said, when I was writing my book, Year 84, I looked at the principles of Newspeak in the appendix of 1984 in order to construct that language. And this is a very brief edited excerpt of the principles of Newspeak. And these are some of the principles and the rules that we'll be using in order to practice rewriting in Newspeak. In the bottom left-hand corner, there's a pause button. And the other slides in this presentation will have the same icon. When you see that, it's an opportunity to pause the video and read or answer questions, depending. So take a moment now if you'd like, and look at these principles and think about them. Here is the first paragraph of 1984 with its famous, wonderful first sentence. This is the paragraph that we'll look at and kind of break down word by word and rewrite into Newspeak. But first, let's read it in Old Speak. It was a bright, cold day in April, and the clocks were striking 13. Winston Smith, his chin nuzzled into his breast in an effort to escape the vile wind, slipped quickly through the glass doors of Victory Mansions, though not quickly enough to prevent a swirl of gritty dust from entering along with him. So in the Newspeak translation, all of the white words will be changed, and the words gritty and along will just cut as being redundant. Remember, Newspeak has the stated goal of reducing the scope of language and reducing the number of words in the language. So whenever we can cut something out or replace synonyms with just one word, that's what we're going to be doing. In my version of Newspeak, words become numbers. So 13 written out becomes 13, just the number. For ordinal numbers, things that are counted in order, like months or years, the number and the word are put together, like here in month 04, or like my title, Year 84. Windful House is, Victory Mansion is changed to Windful House, a simpler, shorter version of that name. Here's our first question, and it's starting with this, the word bright. What is the Newspeak word for bright, which ends with full? What do you think? Please pause here and think about your answer. So lightful, the bright means something that's full of light, so we would change bright to lightful. Next, striking. What do you think is a new way for clocks to strike? I chose the word flashing, thinking that it was a digital clock and that they would be flashing, but perhaps you would have chosen something else, beeping. Um, the other words might be acceptable there too. So for those who've read 1984, and you remember the phys ed scene where he's doing some exercise with a TV instructor, you'll remember she addresses him by an official number. What is Winston's official number? So again, we're at 6079, we're replacing a word with a number and making him less of an individual too. Here, nuzzled into his breast. So that's 4 words. We'd like to reduce it to 1 word. Which direction is 6079 pointing his chin? Down, of course. So we've reduced the vocabulary further. In Newspeak, effort, the word effort, try, other synonyms like that is replaced with attempt. Here's another question. What do you think what is 1 word to replace escape, evade, prevaricate, shirk? What's 1 word that's a synonym for all of those? So avoid. 1 word replaces 5 of those. And here we come to perhaps the most news speaker-ish of the Newspeak. What is Newspeak for vile, evil, or very bad? Plus on good, which is a wonderful Newspeak term. Here we go, slipped. What is a 2-letter word to replace slip? A very generic verb. I chose go, and go in year 84 and in Newspeak replaces many verbs that indicate movement. You can just say go in the year 84. And again, talking about the Newspeak rule about regularity. What is the Newspeak rule for making the past tense of all verbs, regardless? It, of course, is adding ed to any verb to make the past. So here we have goad. Quickly, what is the Newspeak word for quickly, which ends with wise? Speedwise. Now, what is a prefix that means not enough? What can we add to the front of speedwise to indicate not enough? Under speedwise. As well as eliminating words and mashing words together to make 1 longer word, like plus on good or under speedwise. We're also shortening words, making them more telegraphic. What are the short versions of through and though? Of course, through and though, but much shortened. What is 1 word to replace prevent, pause, interrupt, cease? Stop, of course. Swirl, I chose spiral to replace swirl, whirl, twist, words like that. That's swirl. What is a two-letter word to replace enter? Not necessarily a verb. In. So, and then in Newspeak, prepositions, well, any word can be used for any other type of word. Prepositions can be used as verbs. So inning means entering. Congratulations, comrade. You're double plus good news speaker. So here we have, this is the first paragraph, no longer of 1984, but of year 84. I'll read it to you. It was a lightful cold day in month '04, and the clocks were flashing 13 o'clock. 6079 Smith, his chin down in an attempt to avoid the plus ungood wind, goed speedwise through the glass doors of Windful House, though under speedwise to stop a swirl of dust from inning with him. Thank you. This is my email address in case you want to get in touch with me. Good job. I'm going to hand you back over to Les.
I'd like to thank you for that, Brennan. That is going to give a lot of people a lot of thought. And I'm sure that what it will do is make a lot of people go away and both look at what Orwell wrote and also ask themselves how many times some similar principle has been applied to everything which is actually in the newspapers on how language is changed today. Orwell's principles may not be the ones that they apply, but some similar sets of rules will surely be those. And as you know, these have gone back a long time, from what was called telegraphese, in which journalists wrote in the early 20th century, through a language which was developed in the late 1930s and 1940s, of which Orwell was aware, called Basic English. BASIC actually stood for something. It doesn't mean the word basic. And of course, Orwell was also aware of the development of the Esperanto language, as he had members of his family who were involved in it. I think at that point, we're going to wrap up this short course, this short class, because everyone who is using this, teachers around the world, will want to apply it to their own classes. Perhaps they might want to take one other paragraph of the book and ask their own students to write it again, rewrite it in Newspeak, and then they can compare it with what you did. Your book is available both as a printed copy and as an ebook and can be found online. I have both.
Thanks.
I'd like to thank you today. And I'd like to thank technical support from the Orwell Society, who has sat quietly behind the scenes.
Very welcome.
This lesson will be appearing on the Orwell Society YouTube channel, and we'll be making clear, we'll be making we'll be announcing it publicly via our social media. Okay. Thank you so much, Brennan. Thank you very much, Orwell Society Tech team. Thank you very much for watching. And we hope that you get a lot more out of it. And we hope to make more of these educational talks available in the future. Thank you very much.
Thanks.